Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Judy Horton, and I am president of Horton Consulting, and I'm also a SHRM USAA Veteran Ambassador. I'm a veteran advocate, and I am thrilled that you are here today to not only learn about hiring veterans and military spouses, but how to retain them. We have so much good information for you today, so I'm so excited that you're here. So just one thing I wanted to share with you is my grandfather and my father both served full-time in the Army, and then my husband, that very dapper looking man on the right, served in the South Carolina Army National Guard for over 26 years. So from a veteran's perspective, I get it. I understand how hard it is, the challenges that veterans can face when they're applying for civilian jobs. I'm also an HR professional, so I get that side too. I have interviewed veterans, I've interviewed lots of different people for roles, and you want to find the best person. So I'm hoping today that I can share with you both sides of the equation to help you be better equipped to hire the best person for the role. And hopefully that's a veteran or a military spouse. So just a little bit more about the SHRM Foundation and the USAA program, the Veteran Ambassador Program. So I was lucky enough to be one of the first 38 inaugural ambassadors back in the spring of this year. We now have almost 200 ambassadors across the United States. And our goal is to reach over 62,000 people. That's hiring managers, employers, HR professionals, to help them become better educated to hiring veterans and military spouses. So I'm glad that you're with us on this journey today. So we're going to talk about three core things today. The first is, I think it's important for you to understand some of the barriers that veterans and spouses experience when they're seeking civilian employment. The second is, why is it important? Why should we hire this group of people? What do they bring to the table? So we're going to touch on that. But most of our time is going to be spent on best practices. How do you acquire this skilled talent pool? How do you retain them? So we're going to talk about the whole employee life cycle. So let's get started by talking about some of the challenges and barriers the military community face with regards to employment. So why does employing veterans and spouses matter? Well, we know that veterans are valuable members of the workforce. They're highly educated, highly trained. Employers say they demonstrate a high level of workplace performance, and there's some evidence to say they stay in their jobs once they are settled in a post-transition role. All of these factors matter to employers because 4 out of 5 employers report difficulties filling jobs due to lack of available talent. Quite frankly, it's probably a little bit more than that because of our current labor market. Veterans as well as spouses can help meet this need. This may be why HR professionals are reporting that veteran recruiting is a top 3 priority. So if veterans have in-demand skills, why are they still facing employment challenges? Why are 90% of veterans encountering issues with getting employment? Why are nearly 50% leaving their first job within a year, and more than 65% are leaving their first job within the 2 years? Well, we believe it's due to cultural alignment and understanding the veterans' talents and aligning those talents with the role within your company. It's important for veterans to understand the position for which they are applying and the overall company's culture. Understanding the position requirements and how they fit in, along with a company culture in mind, will help them leverage their individual talents within your workplace. So who will champion military hiring as part of their culture? The SHRM Foundation believes that veterans are valuable members of our workforce, and this initiative will help HR professionals attract, hire, and retain members of the military community. So some of the challenges that they face are, as I mentioned, finding a good fit, finding that good culture that aligns with their own values. And it might be that they're looking for employment in a career field that's different than what they did in the military, but they're able to use those transferable skills. Another challenge is finding work that's purposeful, that's meaningful. If you think about the mission that they held in the military, they want to continue that. They want to have purposeful, meaningful work. The other thing I wanted to mention is about a civilian network. Spouses and veterans have spent their careers within the military community and have built up their network in that community. They have not spent time building their civilian network. So when they get out and they're searching for employment, they don't have a leg up, and it's more of a challenge for them. And the last thing that I wanted to mention on a struggle is that there is this misconception that every single veteran has PTSD. Well, it's just not true. And yes, they may have invisible wounds, but that should not be a barrier to employment. So veterans face one set of employment challenges while spouses face their own unique challenges. And this is partially because spouses are often seeking employment at the same time dealing with a relocation, a deployed spouse, and they may have periods of unemployment. While military spouses are often well educated, they are also 3 times as likely to be unemployed. And right now we have nearly 606,000 active duty military spouses, highly educated, highly trained, and they're available to work. So we've talked about some of the veteran transition challenges. There's also the spouse challenges. And some of the others that I wanted to mention to you is that when you're looking at a spouse resume, you're going to see gaps. Most likely you're going to see resume gaps, and it's because of moving from base to base. Another big problem that people don't realize is that a spouse may get a license or a certification in another state that doesn't transfer to the state that they're moving to. So therefore what happens is they are either unemployed or underemployed. And so just keep those things in mind as you're evaluating a spouse resume. So now that you know some of the challenges veterans and spouses face, it's easy to see why a business might want to try and help. But the reality is that hiring efforts need to be tied to the goals of the business. And that's why we want to spend just a little bit of time talking about the business case for hiring veterans and spouses. So, what is the business case for hiring spouses and veterans? Having a business case for military affiliated hiring is important because it explains how it benefits the business, what resources will be used, obtaining buy-in, what types of positions and roles align with your initiatives and goals, and what steps should be taken to make the effort successful. So if you take a minute, think about what the business case might look like for your company. And I'll say this, I have included in the resource section of this PowerPoint multiple business case examples from large companies to small companies. So hopefully that will help you build your business case. Another side of the business case is what the veteran or spouse will think. How will they view your company? First, let's think about why a veteran or a spouse would want to work for you, work for your company. Your greatest brand ambassadors are veterans already employed by you and who can speak favorably about working for you. Veterans need to feel aligned to a purpose. Many veterans I have worked with left jobs where they felt they were not being utilized, not valued, and not tied to a larger mission or goal. So you need to consider your company's why. This goes into your business case. In general, a lot of organizations say their reasons for hiring military affiliated employees are because it's simply good for business. There can also be tangible reasons why organizations want to hire veterans, like the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, for example, tangible money going back into your business. Whatever your reasons for developing a business case for hiring, be clear and be focused. So let's think about how to implement a military hiring program by taking a look at the employee life cycle. These are the exact same processes you would use with any employee. You can probably do many of the same things you have always done. This will help you think about some of the things that may be unique to veterans and spouses. Mapping the employee's journey will give you visibility to their experience. You will also be able to build a dashboard providing tangible metrics on the strengths and areas to improve the employee experience. We will talk about the steps from employer readiness all the way to talent mobility. So understanding the veteran population is a unique component of your broader workforce. Your investment in these elements set the foundation to deliver huge dividends in the success of your hiring program. It's crucial to ensure that leadership and most certainly hiring managers and recruiters understand the importance of hiring veterans, and that those involved in the hiring process should be trained on military culture and basic military jargon. For example, your website should include elements to make your military branding effective and clear to potential hires. Talent acquisition takes more time up front, but will ultimately pay off by helping you build the best possible team with the right skills for your company. This process allows you to be prepared, create diversity, and ultimately meet your talent needs. I challenge you to think beyond normal work requirements when reviewing a veteran's skills and aligning to potential jobs. Nothing is better than seeing something with your own eyes. When you host a hiring fair at your location, veterans can experience your culture and the people who work there in real time. This is a great opportunity for veterans to be exposed to not just what you do, but how you do it. A simple email, text, or call to assure them that you have received their resume goes a long way. And I know that this in particular is something that people complain about, not hearing back from recruiters. So by you taking that extra time to reach back out to that veteran will go a long way. Hey, veterans talk to each other and they rely heavily on relationships. Curating the applicant experience for veterans is the golden ticket to relationship building and earning a brand ambassador for your company. I also encourage you to think about hiring soft skills and then training for the hard skills that you need. Veterans often come to the workplace eager to learn, and they come equipped with so many soft skills, and that make them an asset to your workplace. Keep in mind that many veterans have this robust access to educational benefits and training opportunities that they can utilize in your company. We've included a few tips on how to source veteran and military spouse candidates, and there are multiple organizations that can assist you on your journey. For example, ESGR, the Employer Support of Guard and Reserve. So we've been kind of talking about veterans that have transitioned out of the military. But everything that I'm talking about today also applies to those people that are in the Guard or in the Reserve. So the ESGR is a great organization to help you in your hiring, as well as supporting and retaining those employees. Hire Our Heroes, Wounded Warrior, these are ones that you've certainly heard of. And then there are also many local veteran service organizations here across the upstate. Another one that I'd like to mention is Veterans Ascend. This was founded by a veteran and can help reduce the need for a resume. It's looking at job description skills matched to a veteran's skills. So definitely check them out. And the last thing I would mention is, talk to veterans. Also participate in task forces, work groups, and certainly any specific job fairs to identify potential candidates. And by talking to veterans, you're going to be able to get referrals. It happens. Military spouse candidates may have difficulty demonstrating they are a good fit for a position through just their resume alone. Their resumes may show gaps, be functional instead of chronological, show short duration jobs, or underemployment, among other things. A strong resume clearly conveys a work history that aligns with a particular job description and level of experience, and can determine if a candidate lands in the yes or no pile of applicants. Many spouses utilize time in between jobs to further their education or get certifications. Therefore, you may see multiple degrees and certifications on a spouse resume. Military spouses may have trouble demonstrating they are a good fit through their resume alone. So therefore, I encourage you, be open-minded, ask lots of questions to get to the heart of their abilities. We recommend that you take these factors into account when reviewing military spouse resumes and consider using high-touch approaches such as behavioral or situational interview. You guys are familiar with that. Connect with references and allowing for opportunities for spouses to self-identify if they want to. Now, what do I mean by that? Self-identify. Some military spouses have actually been reluctant to mention that they are a military spouse because some companies won't hire them. Now, they shouldn't be doing that, of course, but they don't want to be excluded from a potential role simply because they are a spouse of a military service member. Hey, all of you are HR professionals and know a bit about interviewing. Well, my husband, as well as other veterans that I've worked with, have told me that they wished employers took at least a little bit of time to understand the various roles in the military and understand that not everyone is carrying a gun and fighting on the front lines. There are so many different jobs within the military. There are so many different military occupational codes. So take a little bit of time and learn. To ensure the most effective interviews with individuals who have served in the military, hiring managers should be trained on interviewing a military veteran. Another place to help you learn is ONET. It's O*net. I have it in the resource section. But ONET is a source for hiring managers and HR to learn about military occupational codes. So if you do see this on a resume, check out ONET to help you. Avoid judgment around job changes for spouses and family members supporting those who've served our country. Some may have been required to relocate. We've mentioned that. This is no different, really, from a non-military spouse that may have relocated for their spouse's job. Interviews should probe for accomplishments, transferable skills, and any details revealing their adaptability and ability to manage stressful roles, be efficient and diligent in working with your company. Now, I know that you've been through this. You know how to do behavioral-based interviews and situational interviews. These are great ways to really get to know veteran and spouse candidates. This will dig in below their resume or below their LinkedIn and really help you understand their skills. Now let's talk about onboarding. This is where your employee value proposition really comes to life. Simply put, you make good on the promises you gave during the acquisition stage. Onboarding starts the first minute your new employee walks through the door and can last up to 12 months. Well, actually, it starts from the time they accept the job, right? Onboarding that lasts longer generates great impact on retention. New employees have opportunities to be coached. Acclimate, engage, and retain should be your guide when your employees are onboarding. These goals address the needs of not only the employee, but also the employer. Acclimate. This is where you lay out your expectations. You're talking about the role. What are you expecting from this new employee? Engage. Its effective onboarding increases retention, increases the employee experience, product quality, and hopefully customer ratings. Retain. Well, no one likes to lose talent, do we? Poorly structured onboarding programs will result in retention challenges and turnover. Companies who experience the loss of talent within the first 12 months of employment can expect to absorb the cost of up to 9 months of an employee's salary to identify and onboard a replacement. That's certainly an expensive aftermath to poor hiring and poor onboarding. So you get it. Onboarding is critical. It sets the tone for the new employee. It helps them feel welcomed and valued. Well, it's the exact same thing for a veteran. Of course, many of the onboarding practices you use for all employees remain the same whether they are military affiliated or not. A welcome letter should include date and time to come to the office, dress code, directions, where to park, ID, building number, and so on. Don't leave even the smallest detail open. This level of detail creates a comforting welcome to the new employee. Don't take it for granted. Building the 90-day plan is an excellent way to become familiar with their colleagues, leaders, and the company's culture. And finally, the reminder alert email to the hiring manager can reduce the new hire's time to productivity by 1 full month. That's a whopping 25% increase. Now that's a huge impact. We've included some sample best practices for veteran onboarding. For example, veterans may not be familiar with various business attire. Providing advance notice on what type of attire to wear allows them to acquire the appropriate wardrobe. I spoke with one veteran that felt completely out of place on day one as he dressed in a full suit and tie and walked into a very casual work atmosphere. He was expecting the same attire that he saw during the interview process. He felt completely out of place. It also helps relieve some of the anxiety of fitting in. Sending a quick email keeps the veteran informed and paves the way for a good first impression and reinforces relationship building. This could be the first time the veteran employee has worked in an environment, unlike the military, where there might be more fluidity, less structure, more ambiguous or unfamiliar expectations. Talking about all of these things helps build comfort. I encourage you to create an employee resource group just for veterans. This creates a place for camaraderie, a safe space. I also encourage you to assign an onboarding buddy or mentor. This helps the new employee get a lay of the land. Even the smallest support creates a welcoming environment for the veteran and helps them feel special and valued. Planning for a regular check-in, 90-day plan and actionable goals allows the veteran to get comfortable with their role become acclimated with the culture, and acclimate to the expectations of their leaders, as well as develop relationships with fellow employees and becoming part of a new team may be just as important as landing the new job. Veterans are used to lots of training and may very well want the same from you in their new role. Keep that in mind when determining their steps in professional development. Veterans frequently report a lack of understanding related to workplace norms and customs, organizational reporting structures, and benchmarks of performance. No one took the time to explain these to them about the civilian workforce. Take the time to further develop and train your veterans. They are used to it and they want it. They are used to being involved in lots of different types of work and projects and can quickly adapt and shift quickly. Get them involved in other projects. This also helps them with their development. Veterans are accustomed to frequent and specific performance feedback and will likely be receptive to it as well as expect it. It helps to reassure the veteran they are on the right track and that they are becoming from an environment of constant feedback. Talent mobility strategies can be used to help veterans acclimate to the civilian workforce. Having conversations with veterans and military spouses early on can help them manage their career progression and understand the workforce expectations such as promotion processes, job expectations, how to succeed, and what resources are available to them. Keep in mind, because they are new to the civilian workforce, they may be unfamiliar with many of the resources your company has to offer. By educating them, you are showing them they are valued and you will likely retain a long-term employee. Several of you already have a veteran or military spouse hiring program, while others are just at the beginning stages. A great way to check on viability of your program is by going through each stage of the employee life cycle and asking yourself the corresponding questions. You can then review your current employee life cycle to ensure you're maximizing all of the opportunities for your broader workforce and veteran talent. As you may already know, the SHRM Foundation has developed a Veteran Employment Digital Toolkit. I encourage you to download it, and I've included the link in the resources section. We understand building a veteran employment program is a pretty heavy lift. That's why the SHRM Foundation has curated a digital toolkit you can access free, high-quality resources that will support the development of your veteran employment program. The SHRM Foundation also created the Veteran at Work Certificate. This certificate is a free, multifaceted program to teach best practices to attract, hire, and retain veterans, and it grants 10 PDCs upon completion. I went through this program. It's fabulous. It may take you about 10, 11 hours to get through, but it's so worth it. We hope you will utilize all of these resources to help you get started. But most of all, we just want to thank you for your interest and commitment to this. I also wanted to share with you some other resources. Of course, I've mentioned the SHRM Foundation and the Veterans at Work Certificate Program. But also check out PsychArmor and ONET, and then of course Veterans Ascend. And then certainly check in with Craig Washburn at Veteran Tax Credits. Craig can make sure that your company is taking advantage of the $10,000 workforce credit. In the virtual booth, you will find links to the materials that I've mentioned. If you are a SHRM certified, this program represents one PDU. You're going to have in the virtual booth the Employing the Military Community, a great guide. It's just filled with great information, as well as the Veteran Employment Toolkit that I just mentioned. And then I'm also including a link to the SHRM USAA Veteran Ambassador Program. It's what I am. If you have the inclination to learn a little bit more and also share the benefits of hiring a veteran and a military spouse, check out the program. It might be for you. You know what? Together, we can make a difference. We can absolutely make a positive impact in the number of veterans who are leaving their first job within that first year. We can make an impact with promoting this amazing talent pool. I challenge you to do that. Will you accept this challenge? And I would just so appreciate if you would follow us. Follow Horton Consulting on Instagram, Facebook, and of course on LinkedIn. And feel free to send me an email. If you have a question about what we've covered today, please reach out. Happy to share any information that I have. And finally, in closing, I love this quote about veterans from Kathy Engelbert. The simple truth is that every veteran has his or own unique story, and there's no single narrative about the issue of veterans finding civilian employment, and there's no single solution. And you have the solution. You have the solution to make a difference with hiring and retaining military veterans and spouses. Thanks so much and have a great day.